Sanada Yukimura cornered Tokugawa Ieyasu to the brink of death during the Osaka Campaign. Behind this shocking truth lay a strategy known to no one. With merely a few thousand soldiers, he overwhelmed the Tokugawa main camp, boasting 200,000 men. This legendary charge forced Ieyasu to prepare for seppuku. But then, in truth, this hit a tragic resolve, a desperate gamble by Yukimura. What was the conviction that drove him? This video will explain 3 key points: why Ieyasu feared Yukimura, the comeback strategy Yukimura envisioned, and why he is called the last warrior. Now, let's delve into the life of Sanada Yukimura and his miraculous battles during the Osaka Campaign. In this main feature, we will also detail the years Yukimura spent in exile. Sanada Yukimura, real name Nobushige. His entire life was a strategy for the survival of the Sanada clan, a minor noble family from Shinano. His father, Masayuki, was a rare strategist who, after the fall of the Takeda clan, navigated between powerful daimyo like Oda, Tokugawa, Yasuji, and Hojo, preserving his family through skillful diplomacy and military might. Yukimura, too, played a part in his father's strategy, including living in Osaka as a hostage for Toyotomi Hideyoshi. There, he gained much knowledge from Hideyoshi. The Sanada clan earned its national renown during the first and second battles of Ueda. Father and son, Masayuki and Yukimura, skillfully repelled the massive Tokugawa armies. Especially during the second battle of Ueda, a prelude to the Battle of Sekigahara, Nobushige, with only a few thousand men, halted Tokugawa Hidetada's 38,000-strong army, ensuring they would not reach the main battle in time. This very feat laid the foundation for Yukimura to be called Japan's greatest warrior during the later Osaka Campaign. Even then, glimpses of his genius were evident. At the Battle of Sekigahara, he fought alongside his father for the Western Army, suffering defeat. The Sanada clan faced annihilation. However, his brother Nobuyuki was on the Tokugawa side, and his plea saved their lives. As a consequence, though, father and son were ordered to retire to Mount Koya. For Yukimura, his confinement on Mount Koya and at Kudoyama at its base was no blank period in his life. What was he doing in this place? His retirement at Mount Koya was a time for Yukimura to calmly assess the state of the nation and prepare for the inevitable future. So, how did he effectively utilize this period of preparation? At Kudoyama, Yukimura outwardly lived a life of seclusion. Yet, behind the scenes, he was gathering various information and building connections. Crucially, his ties with the Toyotomi clan were maintained, and it is said they secretly exchanged communications. He constantly sought information, preparing for the inevitable conflict. Tokugawa Ieyasu sought an opportunity to destroy the Toyotomi clan, steadily increasing pressure, notably triggered by incidents like the Hokoji Bell inscription affair. The Toyotomi clan began recruiting former vassals of various daimyo from across the nation, known as ronin. Among them was Sanada Yukimura. Under Tokugawa surveillance, Yukimura escaped Kudoyama with desperate resolve. This was merely 4 years after the death of his father, Masayuki. His arrival at Osaka Castle was met with jubilation by the Toyotomi clan. His reputation as a strategist, in particular, was highly esteemed. However, the Toyotomi side faced internal division. There were moderates supporting Hideyori and hardliners advocating for total resistance. Yukimura belonged to the latter. Upon entering the castle, Yukimura immediately identified a weakness in Osaka Castle: the poor defenses on its southern side, which faced open plains. Here, he proposed the construction of a legendary outer fortress, the Sanada Maru. Despite numerous objections, his firm insistence brought it to fruition. The Sanada Maru was completed in just a few weeks of intensive construction. So why did this small outpost possess such power, capable of striking fear into the massive Tokugawa army? The Sanada Maru was a crescent-shaped barbican, strategically positioned to jut out into the open plains south of Osaka Castle. The Tokugawa forces had no choice but to pass through it to attack the castle. Yukimura fortified the Sanada Maru with dry moats and earthen ramparts, creating a multi-layered defense. Inside, he strategically placed cunning firing positions. Then, the winter campaign of Osaka commenced. The fierce Tokugawa onslaught focused on the Sanada Maru. However, they were unaware of Yukimura's trap. The Tokugawa army surged towards the Sanada Maru. But soldiers funneled into narrow passages were met with concentrated cannon fire and volley after volley of musket shots from the fortress, falling one after another. Even the most elite Tokugawa units, led by Maeda Toshitsune and Tsunetaka, suffered heavy losses, forcing Ieyasu to abandon his attempts to breach the Sanada Maru. It is said that the Tokugawa army suffered over 10,000 casualties in the defense of the Sanada Maru. A single outer fortress had thus tormented the ruler of Japan. However, Tokugawa Ieyasu chose not to launch a full-scale assault on Osaka Castle, instead using bombardment from large cannons to force a truce. This truce plunged the Toyotomi into even deeper peril. Why? As a condition of the truce, Osaka Castle's second and third baileys were dismantled, and even its outer and inner moats were filled in. Osaka Castle was now virtually defenseless. Then, the summer campaign of Osaka began. Stripped of its defenses, the Toyotomi army had no choice but to face the Tokugawa forces in open battle. Amidst overwhelming odds, Yukimura embarked on a daring final gamble. A single-point breakthrough directly to Tokugawa Ieyasu's main camp. At the Battle of Tennoji and Okayama, Yukimura spotted Ieyasu's standard, spurred his horse, and with only 3,000 men, broke through the center of the 200,000-strong Tokugawa army. This charge threw the Tokugawa army into complete disarray. When Yukimura's forces neared Ieyasu's main camp, Tokugawa bannermen fled, and Ieyasu himself reportedly braced for death. It is said that Ieyasu attempted suicide twice at this moment. Such was the terror Yukimura's charge struck into the hearts of the Tokugawa forces. However, against overwhelming numbers, Yukimura's forces were exhausted, and their charge finally lost its momentum. Wounded, Yukimura was eventually slain near Shitanoji Temple. He died at the age of 49. His end was truly an honor to the samurai. His heroic fighting prowess earned him the praise of Japan's greatest warrior from his enemy, Shimazu Tadatsune of Satsuma Domain. Ieyasu feared Yukimura not just for his military genius, but for his unwavering loyalty to the Toyotomi and his indomitable spirit. These qualities generated a power that defied conventional wisdom. Yukimura's comeback strategy involved the Sanada Maru, compensating for Osaka Castle's weaknesses, and a single-point breakthrough to Ieyasu's main camp. Both were bold moves, made after a calm assessment of the situation. And the reason he is called the Last Warrior? It is likely because, as the Sengoku period ended and opportunities for samurai to live by their code vanished, he embodied the samurai ideal until the very end. His fight was not a meaningless death, but the epitome of Bushido, upholding loyalty and fulfilling the path he believed in. Sanada Yukimura. His name lives on, not merely as a warrior, but as the testament to a human life that navigated a tumultuous era and stayed true to its convictions.